Very good morning, everyone, and welcome to Technical Session 4 on Global Conference on Vedic Ideas for a Better Society. This session will focus on the theme Spirituality in Vedas. Atmano Mokshartam Jagat Hitaya Cha, salvation of the soul and welfare of the world. The goal of the session is to learn to delve into Vedic ideas on service and spirituality. In this session, we will have three speakers: Professor Rakesh Upadhyay, Professor Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi, India; Professor Hriday Ranjan Sharma ji, Distinguished Professor of Veda, Department of Veda at Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi, India. We also have Mr. Nitin Sridhar, Chief Curator from India. And on stage, we also have our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Srikantamurthy. We will begin with Mr. Nitin Sridhar. He is an author, speaker, and journalist based in Mysore, India. Though he was trained as a civil engineer who worked in construction sites, his passion for culture and philosophy made him take a career change into journalism. He has authored books like Musings on Hinduism, Samanya Dharma, and Menstruation Across Cultures, a Historical Perspective, which have been read and appreciated widely. His recent book is an English commentary on the Isha Upanishad. He also contributes well-researched articles on various politics, culture, religion. Currently, he serves as the Chief Curator of Indica Moksha Advaita Academy, an initiative dedicated to the dissemination of Advaita Vedanta. We will listen to a video recording by Mr. Nitin, and he will address us on the topic, the dharmic way of life as per the Vedas. Over to Mr. Nitin.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Sadashiva-Samarambham Shankaracharya-Madhyamam Asmadacharya-Paryantam Vande Guru-Parampara. First of all, I would like to thank Sri Sathya Sai University of Human Excellence for inviting me to this wonderful conference, the Global Conference on Vedic Ideas for a Better Society. And unfortunately, due to some unavoidable circumstances, I have been unable to attend the conference in person. The organizers have kindly allowed me to record this video, some 20-25 minutes, on my topic, which was the dharmic way of life as per Vedas. Uh, so the as the topic says, I'll be speaking on what it means to live a dharmic life. Though it says as per Vedas, that is understood because dharma by definition is that which is revealed by Veda. And when we say Veda, of course, primarily it means the Shruti, the Veda, the whole Vedic corpus, which is the Samhita, the Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samveda, Atharvaveda, Samhita portion, the Brahmana portion, the Aranyaka and Upanishad portion as well. But also in a broader way, when we speak about Veda, we have to speak not about particular books, but of the Vedika Sampradaya as a whole. So it means we have to bring in the other sources of Dharma, which are the Smritis, which are the most important sources after Shruti and which is based on Shruti are the Smritis, such as Manusmriti, Yajnavalkya Smriti, Parashara Smriti, to name few, where there are at least 20-25 Smritis, authoritative Smritis. And then we have the Itihasa Puranas, such as the Ramayana, Mahabharata, Ashtamahadasha Puranas, and so on and so forth. So this is the entire corpus, the Vedika Sampradaya, the textual corpus of Vedika Sampradaya, which reveals us knowledge, knowledge about Dharma. So this is very important to understand before going to what seeing some interesting verses from the Veda and from Shruti and Smriti text on how to live a dharmic living. It is important to understand what constitutes dharma, because we have this misconception today that we can on our own decide what is dharma, what is adharma, just like that. I mean, without each person can decide for himself or herself what is dharma. But this is a misunderstanding, because if everybody can know what is right, what is wrong, if I have to put into today's term, what is dharma, what is adharma, uh, then then even, for example, a criminal would justify his actions uh, using any or the one number of arguments, right? So we need to have a more sure basis, because no two persons thinks in the same way, no two persons will argue in the same way. Everybody will argue as per their own whims and fancies, and this is a fact. So we cannot say that I will independently know what is dharma, or I will sim. And dharma is not something. It is not a philosophical speculation. It is not a speculation. It is not something we all are trying to attain through speculation. Dharma is a revelatory knowledge. It is a knowledge which has been discovered by the rishis in highest meditation, or more properly, it is the knowledge which has been revealed to us by Bhagavan himself. It has been taught to us by Bhagavan himself. As the Manusmriti says, originally it was the Hiranyagarbha, the Brahmaji, the Parabrahman in the form of Brahma, who revealed, who did the Dharma Upadesha, the teachings of Dharma. He gave the teachings of Dharma to Swayambhuva Manu, his Manasaputra. And through Manu, then it was taught to many rishis, and we have the line of transmission. That is how the source of the Dharma teachings, the Parampara, goes. And then, of course, it has been directly revealed in the Veda, the Shruti texts, which have been discovered by the rishis in their very deep meditation. Hence, they are called as rishis and mantradrashtas. So, when we speak about, so after this, then comes the question, what is dharma? I mean, dharma is not simply, we have a very misunderstanding what exactly it is. Sir, dharma comes from the dhatu, the root dhatu dhru, which means to uphold. So, what does it uphold? It means that which upholds the universe, that which upholds the individual. So, both microcosmic and microcosmic. So, in the universal context, there is also another term called Rita, but we won't go there. Basically, it's about universal order, harmony, etc. What we are interested when we speak about dharmic living is what is dharma, how to define dharma in our context. So we have one definition which is that found in Vaisheshika Sutra, which says that Yathovan Abhyudaya Nishreyasa Siddhihi Dharma. The dharma is that which helps in accomplishment of Abhyudaya and Nishreyasa. So two terms are given, Abhyudaya and Nishreyasa. Elsewhere in the Parashara Smriti, for example, dharma is defined as that which gives hitam, or which is beneficial to us. So what is this beneficial? Or Abhyudaya means well-being, Nishreyasa also means a special kind of well-being. What are all these mean? Abhyudaya refers to overall material uh, well-being, whereas Nishreyasa refers to the overall adhyatmika well-being, the spiritual, dharmic well-being that ultimately leads to moksha. So Nishreyasa is that which gives moksha, liberation from this bondage of birth of cycle of death, birth, death, birth, death. So, so dharma is hitam because it helps us to pursue and attain, fulfill the artha and kama, the material prosperity, the material pleasures on one end, but at the same time, it also acts as a connecting link. It helps us to attain this artha and kama in such a way, that is in an ethical way, in a dharmic way, such that it leads us to chitta shuddhi, purification of the mind, and eventually to moksha. So this means there are certain particular uh, understanding, certain implications of this definition. What is this first? Dharma in individual context refers to karma, that is our action. So as Manusmriti says, the actions are been divided into dharma and adharma, two divisions. So dharma are those actions which gives rise to punya, that is karmic merit, which in turn gives the result of the karma phala of punya, gives the karma phala of swarga, after death you attain a better position, for the lack of better word, heaven you can say, but basically Devaloka or Swarga you can say. And then it also gives you better birth in your next life, better, more convenient, conductive birth to moksha in your next life. And then it leads to chitta shuddhi, and hence it leads to moksha. On the other hand, adharma refers to all those actions which are generate papa, which is karmic demerit, and hence it gives the karma phala of naraka, that is suffering in naraka, various kinds of realms where we suffer for our wrong actions. And then when you get janma, you will also get a janma in such a condition that you will be a janma in human form. I mean, you will be suffering, and then the naraka also leads to, the adharma also leads to more and more bondage to samsara. So this clarity we need to have when we speak about dharma. The dharma is that which leads to punya, swarga, chitta shuddhi, and moksha ultimately. Whereas adharma is that which leads to papa, naraka, chitta bhranti, and samsara bandhana. Right? So now, with this clarity, therefore, our elders, the Shastras, everybody advises us to lead a dharmic living. That is, to perform actions which are dharmic and avoid actions which are adharmic. So, as we already discussed, how do we know what is dharma? I and you cannot know on our own. So, the Mimamsa definition comes into it. The Jaininiya Mimamsa Dainini says, dharma is that which have been given as injunctions in the Shruti. And to Shruti, we can, of course, we can extend it and add Smriti, Ityasa, Purana. So basically, the Shruti and Smriti are like two eyes of Dharma. Two eyes, important pramanas to know about Dharma. And in them, what is Dharma is revealed in the form of Vidhi or an injunction. And what is adharma to be avoided is revealed in the form of a nisheda vakya, that is, as a prohibition. For example, do not commit violence or do not commit murder or do not commit violence. So this is a nisheda vakya. Do not do it. So if you do it, then it means it's a violation of nisheda vakya. Therefore, there is papam because you are committing papam basically. On the other hand, statement like satyam vada, speak the truth, is an injunction. Speak the truth. So if you speak the truth, then you get punyam. If you don't speak the truth, then again there is papam, the karmic demerit. So, in the Taittiriya Shruti, that is Taittiriya Upanishad, we have very concise and very wonderful teaching on how to lead a dharmic life. And I'll just read out a few portions from it, and I'll be focusing on that for this talk because we do not have much time. I can't go much over it. So the context of this particular chapter, it is chapter 11th in the first Valli, the first section. And here after the teacher teaches the Veda Adhyapan, the Veda Dhyana of the student is done. Then the teacher gives him some instructions about how to lead the life. The first instruction he gives is Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara. So these are the two instructions he gives at the beginning. Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara. So Bhagavan Shankaracharya in his commentary says that Satyam Vada includes not just Satya, but also other ethical qualities such as Ahimsa, Satya Asteya, Shaucham, Indriya Nigram, and Satya. That is, the Satyam Vada is a reference to practice of our Samanya Dharma. See, Dharma is of two kinds. Samanya Dharma, universal ethical principles which are Samanya, that is, which are general, common for everybody across the world. Men, women, Indian, foreigner, everybody it is applicable. So, what are those qualities? Manusmriti gives fivefold qualities of Samanya Dharma. It says, Ahimsa Satyamasteyam Shaucham Indriya Nigraham. Ahimsa, non-injury, asteya, non-stealing, uh, shaucha, cleanliness, Sathya, speaking truth, Indriya Nigraha is control of your mind and your senses. And then we have Vishesha Dharma, which is a special form of Dharma. So in the Taittiriya Upanishad, the first is Satyam Vada, which refers to the Samanya Dharma. And then there is Dharmam Chara. So it refers to the Vishesha Dharma. So special Vishesha Dharma means Dharma which is contextual in nature, which is given for a particular person, particular kind of person, kind of people for a particular situation. For example, there is something called as Brahmacharya Dharma. That is, it is a dharma for the students during their study time. Similarly, we have Grihastha Ashrama Dharma, so the duties for the married people. And then we have Sannyasa Dharma for the renunciates. Similarly, we have Brahmana Dharma, Kshatriya Dharma, Vaishya Dharma, Shudra Dharma for various varnas. And we have Yuga Dharma. There is a Satya Yuga Dharma, Kali Yuga Dharma, such like. We have Apad Dharma, emergency condition, Anapada Dharma, non-emergency conditions. So many of these Vishesha Dharma are there. So we have to find out what is applicable to us. If you are a householder, if you are a Brahmana, then the certain kind of Dharma is there. If you are a householder, if you are not of any of the three Varnas, then you have a certain kind of duties. Then, but what is common is the Samanya Dharma, Ahimsa, Satyam, Asteya, Shaucham, Indriya, Nigram. And we can add many other qualities such as Bhagavad Purana lists 33 qualities of Samanya Dharma, such as includes Kshama, forgiveness, charity, Daya, and Daya, Dana, Dama, so many other things are added. Okay. So, then the Taittiriya Upanishad, after speaking about Satyam Vada Dharmam Chara, it then again elaborates a bit. It says, Swadhyayatma Pramadaha, Swadhyayanma Pramadaha, Acharyaya Priyam Dhanamashratya Prajatantum Ma Vyavachesihi Satyanna Pramaditavya, Dharmanna Pramaditavya, Kushalanna Pramaditavya, Bhutyaina Pramaditavya, Swadhyaya Pravachanabhyam na Pramaditavyam, Deva Pitru Karyabhyam na Pramaditavyam. So basically what it is saying, first it says, do not deviate. Swadhyayan ma pramadaha. Do not deviate, do not ignore, do not swerve from your swadhyaya. Swadhyaya means study of the Veda specifically, but in a larger sense, we can understand it as study of any of the Shastras, any of the texts. It could be Ityasa, Puranas, or Bhagavad Gita, anything. We have to regularly study them so that they act as a guidance, so that we can internalize those messages and work upon ourselves accordingly. So the teacher is saying, do not deviate from it. Do not ignore your swadhyaya. Do swadhyaya. Not just a secular study, but also the adhyatmic, dharmic study. We have to do regularly, the shastric study. And then it is saying, having offered wealth to the teacher, do not cut the progenies line. That is what it is saying is, after you complete your brahmacharya avastha. So because the teacher is teaching a student who has completed his Veda Dhyana. So he said, now you pay the Guru Dakshina to your Guru and then enter Grihastha. Do not cut your progeny, ties with your progeny. That is what it is saying, right? Prajatantum ma vyavachetihi. So, do not cut the progeny's line. That is, get married and have children. Because there is a Pitru Rina, the Rina, the karmic debt that we all owe to our ancestors for our parents and grandparents and for this lineage that made us possible for us to take birth in here in this world and face our results of past action and pursue the dharmic path towards moksha. For facilitating all those things, we have a karmic debt to our ancestors. Pitrurana it is called. And the way to fulfill that debt is to continue this line. Facilitate other jivas to take birth in this line so that they can also travel their path towards moksha. And that is what it is saying. Do not cut the line of progeny. That is, get married, do not stay unmarried, do not stay as anashrami without any ashrama. So get married, have children, and acquire dharma, artha, kama, moksha, everything through that marital bliss. And then it is said, the teacher says, Satyan na pramaditavyam. Do not deviate from Satya. Do not ignore Satya. Similarly, dharman na pramaditavyam. Do not deviate from dharma. Do not deviate from ignore dharma. Then it says kushalan na pramaditavya. They do not deviate from welfare. That is, if you practice satya and dharma, that is samanya dharma such as satya, ahimsa, etc., and vishesha dharma, the varnashrama, etc. dharma, then you will get welfare, hitam, as I noted before. Kushalam here it is saying. So, for your own benefit, for your own welfare, you have to practice Satya and Dharma. And then it says, Bhutyai na pramaditavyam. Do not swear from again well-being. And then again it says, so again it stresses that Swadhyaya pravachana bhyam na pramaditavyam. Learning and teaching. Always be a student, always be a teacher. You can always learn something other from others, always learn things, and then teach whatever you have learned, teach it to others. Huh? So, Swadhyaya and Pravachana. And this is especially applicable to Brahmanas because their one of the Vishesha Dharma is learning and teaching. But yes, of course, it applies to everybody in some sense because we are all parents. As parents, we teach our children, right? And then and finally it says, Deva Pitru Karyabhyam na pramaditavya. So it is also one of the dharma. Do not forget your duties towards the devatas and towards your ancestors, that are Pitrus. For example, what are our duties to Devata? We have a Devata Rina also. Pitrana we already spoken about. We have Devata Rina also. How do we fulfill that Rina? By performing worship. So what are our duties to Devatas and Pitrus for worshipping them? We worship the Devatas through puja, through yajna, through homa, etc. We worship the Pitrus through tarpana, etc. We do shraddha, tarpana and all those. The minimum things also at least we should do. That is when we can say we are a practice. Based on our varna, ashrama and other requirements, we have to do what we are eligible to do and in the manner that is beneficial to us. So this very simple puja, for example, Shankaracharya in one place says that every day read little bit of Gita, chant Vishnu Sahasranam. So even doing that, that is what, even doing that Bhagavan Aradhana, even for 5 minutes, that is also helps us to fulfill that duty towards Bhagavan because to some extent, see 5 minutes is nowhere compared to 1 hour, but 5 minutes is better than 0 minutes. So we should not say that we do not have time to even do Bhagavan Smarana for 5 minutes. So just take up any shloka from Bhagavad Gita or any other bhakti shloka, Shankaracharya, for example, has written Ashtakams and Shatakams and etc. stotras for all many deities. If you like Devi, you can take one stotra. If you like Annapurneshwari, there is one stotra. If you like Mahalakshmi, there is one stotra. Kanakadhara stotra is there. So many things like that you can take. So and then this the Taittiriya Upanishad then says Matrudevo Bhava, Pitrudevo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, Atiti Devo Bhava. So treat your mother as a Devata herself, your father as a Devata, your teacher as a Devata, and Atiti also as a Devata. That is always treat them, always be worshipful towards them, always be respectful towards them, and whatever they say, try to reflect upon it and try to implement it wherever you find it correct. Because today's we are living in Kali Yuga. Even our parents, we need to accept that our parents, our teachers may, after all, human. They may not be perfect, but still we have to listen and reflect upon what they say because they are ultimately having our benefit in mind, and try to implement it wherever you find it fit, and not reject what they are saying outright, and never be disrespectful towards them. And we all have the duty towards them because they have brought us, given us life, and that thing, no, nothing we do can actually repay that debt. So we have to try to make them as comfortable as possible, look after them when they are old. So this is our dharma. We have to do it, and not doing it is adharma, no matter what the reasons we have. But this is dharma. So Manusmriti says that one who serves the parents like the uh, one who like the Shravana, one who serves the parents well, then that is the highest duty. You know, if you do that, then everything, all kinds of punya you will get by that time. So that is what even Shruti is saying. Do this, and then finally it gives two more instructions. And then this is very practical. It says, what works are free from fault. That is, ya nya vadyani karmani tani sevitavyani na itarani. That is, do those actions which are free from fault and not others. And then it again says, do those actions which are good for us and not others. So the actions which are free from fault and which are good for others, good for us, good for others, both, do those actions and not others. Right? Do good actions. Live cleanly, live with purity, do good to your own self and also for others. For others as well as your own self. Nobody should suffer. Dharma is not that you are doing good for everybody, but always you end up feeling frustrated because you end up feeling being at a short end of the bar. Right? Being dharmika does not mean being a nice guy who is taken advantage by everyone. Being dharmika means sticking to your ideals, sticking to what you feel as right, and trying to lead a life according to the Shastras, but trying to lead an assertive life. Not a nice guy who's taken granted, who's taken advantage of by others, but also not one who is aggressive, who is overbearing, who is bossy, right? So be a positive person, positive influence on others, and try to avoid negative influence from others. So I think I'm almost out of time now. Let me just conclude by saying that dharma is a very broad topic, and I have written this short book. You can see in the virtual background called Samanya Dharma. It's available on Amazon. Please check it. It deals with the Samanya, the ethical portion that I spoke about, Ahimsa, Sathya, etc., that are very necessary for our life, and also read upon the Vishesha Dharma, which are there. You can check in the internet. So all these are there for our sake. The Shruti basically says, if you have to condense everything, it says, Satyam vada dharmam chara. Speak truth, practice dharma. Know what is dharma from the Shastras. You can read Mahabharata, you can read Purana, you can read Ramayana. Rama is called as the Vigrahavan Dharma. He is the personification of the very symbol, the walking and talking Dharma. So read Ramayana, learn how to lead in an ideal way, and then read Mahabharata and how Krishna tackled with the worldly issues. So both are needed. Pragmatism we learn from Krishna, and idealism we learn from Rama, and we implement both in our life because that is needed because we are living in Kali Yuga. So with this very brief message, I hope the short lecture was useful to all of you, and my best wishes to everyone. Thank you for this opportunity. Again, I thank the organizers for inviting me. Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha.
Our next speaker is Professor Rakesh Upadhyay. He is a renowned academician who served as a chair professor in the Bharat Adhyayan Kendra, Banaras Hindu University. He studied TV journalism and mass communication at Indraprastha University, Delhi, and completed his post-graduation training in electronic media. He is a former journalist in Aaj Tak, News 24, Live India, and Zee News. Currently, he serves as professor in the Faculty of Arts at Banaras Hindu University, also as professor at Indian Institute of Mass Communication and visiting faculty Sri Sathya Sai University for Human Excellence. He will be addressing us on the topic, the importance of reintroducing ancient practices of education into the modern learning space. Over to Professor Upadhyay.
वंदे बोधमयं नित्यं गुरुशंकररूपिणं ममाश्रितो हि वक्रोऽपि चन्द्रः सर्वत्र वन्द्यते भवानी शंकरौ वन्दे श्रद्धा विश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धाः स्वान्तः स्थमीश्वरम् वर्णानामर्थसङ्घानां रसानां छन्दसामपि मङ्गलानां च कर्तारौ वन्दे वाणी विनायकौ my deep heart, touching the lotus feet of Pujya Sathya Sai, and also bowing down before our Pujya Sadguru, Sri Madhusudan Sai. Really, I am very fortunate that when some years back I first came here and I submerged into the ambience of this holy land. And now it is a routine practice for me, as our beloved Vice Chancellor is here. Regularly I visit here because this all is the Leela of our beloved Sadguru Madhusudan Sai. He is a Leela Purush. He knows everything. He is doing everything. And what was the basically shape of ancient education system, and what is the future of Vedic education system, how it will be executed across the globe. Basically, he has a full idea, full program in his mind, but due to his Leela, he is also giving certain opportunities like people as to come here on this dais and to say something to you. You all are knowing everything I know very well. Second thing, our scholars earlier who presented their views from the dais, they have told everything. They have said everything. Nothing is for they. कुछ भी नहीं छोड़ा मेरे लिए. इसीलिए मैं बार बार हमारे प्रोफेसर उपेंद्र त्रिपाठी जी बैठे हैं बनारस हिंदू यूनिवर्सिटी के. ही इज़ द HOD of वेद विभाग, कोऑर्डिनेटर ऑफ वैदिक विज्ञान केंद्र. I was showing my watch to him. अरे what you are doing? Everything you will cover. Then what will I speak in my lecture? Because the subject is very, very similar. So, and third one, we are running late, little bit, 20 minutes. And the people, our sisters, all are sitting here. हाँ, पेट में चूहा भी तो कूदता है. हमारे शास्त्र ने कहा है, भूखे भजन न होई गोपाला, ले लो आपन कंठी माला. तो उसका भी समय है. तो कितनी देर सुनेगा आदमी, कब तक सुनेगा? तो सब चीज़ ध्यान में रख करके हमको हमारी संचालिका, आवर moderator Lakshmi Sai told me, sir, time is very little. So I am instructed, but I am instructed also, so I will say something to you. One of great scholar, poet, and a politician of India. Not politician, he was basically literary person, Ramdhari Singh Dinkar. He had written a poem near about 60 years ago. Very important lines. He had written, वृथा मत लो भारत का नाम. Don't take the name of this Bharat in vain. In otherwise condition, don't take the name of India. मानचित्र में जो मिलता है, नहीं देश भारत है. The land which you are seeing on the map of globe, it is not the Indian nation. It is not the real India. मानचित्र में जो मिलता है, नहीं देश भारत है. भारत और भूपर नहीं, मनों में ही कहीं शेष भारत है. Basically, he was weeping on the condition of India. Because India is not existing on the land. It is only existing somewhere in the minds of the people across globe. क्यों? भारत क्या है? What is India? What is Bharat? So the poet is writing, भारत एक स्वप्न, भूमि को ऊपर ले जाने वाला. और भारत एक विचार, स्वर्ग को भूमि पर लाने वाला. भारत एक विचार, स्वर्ग को भूमि पर लाने वाला. इंडिया इज some kind of imagination. ये हमारा स्वप्न है. क्या स्वप्न है? It will ascend the earth to the ultimate goal. What is the objectives of this earth? मैं बार बार कहता हूं, मिट्टी के होने का कारण क्या है? What is the reason behind existing of this holy land, this earth? Because ये मिट्टी जो है, ये शरीर बनना चाहती है. This soil wants to become body. That's why we all people, living, non-living, ये पेड़ पौधे, flora, fauna, everything is the shape of the some kind of soil. और जब शरीर पूरा हो जाता है, again we are soil. हम फिर मिट्टी बन जाते हैं. भारत एक भाव, भारत एक इमोशन है, भाव है. भारत एक भाव, जिसको पाकर मनुष्य जगता है. ह्यूमन बीइंग्स बिकम्स एनलाइटेंड टू सी द ट्रू एसेंस ऑफ इंडिया, ट्रू एसेंस ऑफ भारत. और भारत एक जलज, जिस पर न जल का दाग लगता है. इंडिया इज लाइक लोटस. भारत, द आइडिया ऑफ इंडिया इज लाइक लोटस ऑन विच spotless. You will not get a single spot on that land. भारत है संज्ञा विराग की, उज्ज्वल आत्म उदय की. Emergence of the self, again and again, from the dust to dawn. भारत है आभा मनुष्य की, सबसे बड़ी विजय की. The big victory destined for the human being. What is that? What is called? जितेंद्रिय. भारत है भावना राह, भारत है भावना दाह, जग जीवन से दुख हरने की. भारत है कल्पना मनुज को, राग द्वेष मुक्त करने की. Free from all negative attitude in the human minds. That is India. जहाँ कहीं एकता, जहाँ कहीं एकता खंडित, जहाँ प्रेम का स्वर है. Wherever you will find the unity and integrity character, where you will find the voice of love, love all, serve all. देश देश में खड़ा, देश देश में खड़ा, वहाँ भारत जीवित भास्वर है. Whether it be any land of this globe, there is India, where is the voice of love, where is the voice of character. Only I will show here 3 or 4 slides. आ गया क्या? हाँ, who will start these slides? Ah, yes. Oh. This PowerPoint presentation I had prepared for a different conference. It was based on the economical knowledge of India. Today I will just show certain points to start my lecture before I am showing these slides to you. This graphical sketch is very important. It is only showing you the actual economic condition before independence, before the occupation of Britishers on India, Indian soil. You can see here what was the contribution of Bharat as per the GDP terms 2000 years ago. You are seeing here India in saffron color, the line in saffron color. 2000 years ago, India was contributing in world GDP 30%, above than 30% of the world GDP alone, 2000 years back. And when first East India Company came in 16th century AD, at that time also we were contributing at the rate of more than 25%. When Emperor Akbar was ruling, India was contributing in the world GDP at the scale of 28%. Little bit you are seeing here between near 17th century AD, China is above India. पर थोड़े समय के लिए, for a very short phase of time. So India is sustained right from, you will see, till 1820, we are contributing near about 20% of the world GDP. Now I am asking, what is the rate of rupees as compared to dollar at this time? This time, even this week, dollar crossed the limit of 80 rupees. $1 is equal to above 80 rupees. What is the meaning of it? At the time of independence, $1 was equal to 3 rupees. मैं क्या कहना चाहता हूँ, what I want to say while using such data, I will tell you later, केवल आपके ध्यान में लाने के लिए. And this all data is collected through OECD. Angus Madison, a great scholar of economics of Cambridge University, he and his team has done this great research work, and it is published. It has been published. So 3 rupees was equal to $1. And 1980, after the 33 years of independence, the rate of $1 was only 7 rupees. In 90s, first time in the year of 1995-96, dollar take a big jump after the GATT agreement, and it became $1 was equal to 36 rupees. And when in 2004, it was near 45 rupees. In 2014, dollar was equal to rupees 62, $1. And in last 2 years after the pandemic, we are seeing this surge in the rate of dollars. Again, it has 18 rupees difference we are finding in last 8 years. And it has crossed the limits of 80 rupees. Why? The region is different, but just I am showing you before the coming of Britishers what type of education system was in India, what type of production system was in place. We should try to research in depth about these facts. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. The word earth is very important. Our Gurukul system of education, it was encapsulating all these 4 pillars. And one near about 3 and 4th century BC, you can see the photo picture of that person on the slide. Who is that person? Kautilya. He was a great scholar. And Atmano mokshartham jagat hitaya cha. The importance of reintroducing ancient practices of education into the modern learning space. And the tools for this purpose. 2 mantras are very important, described in Upanishad. Nayam atma pravachanena labhyo na medhaya na bahuna shruten yame vaise vrunate ten labhyastasya atma vi vrunate tanum swam. And second one is Nayam atma balhinena labhyo na pravachanena labhyo na balhinena labhyo na cha pramadat tapsu vapilingat. So the supreme goal, supreme atma, it is not attained by discourse alone, nor by great intellect or remembrance or holding power. The tool to know that Paramatman, it has been said in a shlok, yatate yastu vidvans tasyais atma vishate brahmadham. Guruji, जो चाहता है जो उसकी इच्छा रखता है वो उसको पा जाता है, जो उसको चाहता है वो पा जाता है। नहीं तो जगतगुरु शंकराचार्य कह गए हैं, भज गोविंदम भज गोविंदम भज गोविंदम मूढ़मते और सन्निहिते संप्राप्ति काले नहीं रक्षति डोंक्रिंग करणे। रटते रहो व्याकरण, उसकी इच्छा कर रहे हो कि नहीं? आर यू रियली हैव ए डिजायर टू गेट दैट कंडीशन, टू नो दैट सुप्रीम सोल? So, our education is based on the knowledge of Swa, गुरुकुल सिस्टम। और इसलिए मैं केवल सूत्र में बात करूंगा, टाइम कम है। हमारे यहाँ 4 बातें कही गई हैं। वो क्या है? द 4 मेन पिलर्स ऑफ द इंडियन नॉलेज ट्रेडिशन इज आन्वीच की त्रयी विद्या च दंड नीति। What is the meaning of Anvichki? Anvichki is like investigation. All things described by our professor, Honorable Professor Vijay Shankar Shukla ji, Upendra Tripathi ji, they were described in detail. I am not going in such detail. Anvichki is like investigation. The mind should be investigative in everything. That is Anvichaki. And when will you investigate this whole Brahmand, whole universe, you find certain things, certain knowledge, you gain certain knowledge. तो वह जो knowledge ज्ञान आ जाता है, ये Anvichaki is like a philosophy. Philosophy, basically it is not good word as per the Indian knowledge tradition is concerned. Because it's not symmetrical to darshan. Darshan is different, philosophy is different. Philosophy is a certain type of law to your intellect. लेकिन हमारे ऋषि कह रहे हैं, our ऋषि is saying, नायमात्मा प्रवचनेन लभ्यो न बहुधा श्रुतेन। बहुत ज्ञान से भी मिलने वाला नहीं है। तो मिलने वाला कैसे है? How it will attain? तो वह कहते हैं कि यह दर्शन होता है। जिसका दर्शन नहीं हो सकता वो गुरु भी नहीं होता। जिसका दर्शन नहीं हो सकता, इफ यू आर अनेबल टू सी दैट सुप्रीम ब्रह्म, सो दैट सुप्रीम ब्रह्म इज नॉट रियल। इफ द होल यूनिवर्स इज रियल, सो द ब्रह्म इज ऑल्सो रियल। और वह अंतर्यामी बनकर रहता है, वह अंतर्यामी बनकर आपके भीतर ही रहता है। यही भारतीय परंपरा कह रही है। हर विद्यार्थी के भीतर वही रह रहा है, वह परमात्मा है, उसकी एक लीला खेल चल रहा है, जिसको वैष्णवों ने लीला कहा है भगवान विष्णु की, भगवान नारायण की लीला चल रही है। और जिसको हमारे जो शैवाइट हैं, शैवाइट सेज इट द स्पोर्ट्स ऑफ शिवा, क्रीड़ा चल रही है। वैष्णव जन कह रहे हैं, वैष्णवाज आर सेइंग दैट दिस इज द थिएटर ऑफ भगवान नारायण, लीला चल रही है। तो ये त्रयी है, त्रयी की भी बहुत चर्चा हो गई, ऑलरेडी डिस्क्रिप्टेड बाय उपेंद्र त्रिपाठी जी। वेद त्रयी है, प्रस्थान त्रयी है। वेद त्रयी डिफरेंट है, प्रस्थान त्रयी इज डिफरेंट, वेद त्रयी इज डिफरेंट। और तीसरा है वार्ता और चौथा है दंड नीति। आन्वीच की त्रयी वार्ता दंड नीति चेति विद्या, यही विद्या है। हमारा गुरुकुल सिस्टम, वैदिक गुरुकुल सिस्टम, our universities, विश्वविद्यालय like तक्षशिला and नालंदा was based on these 4 important pillars of knowledge tradition। और इन चारों का शिक्षण होता था, ये चारों का शिक्षण होता था। इसलिए अब इसको कौटिल्य ने कोट किया। कौटिल्य सेइंग इन हिज ग्रेट ग्रंथ अर्थशास्त्र, मनु महाराज ने इसको कहा है, भीष्म पितामह ने महाभारत में कहा है, भगवान राम ने वाल्मीकि रामायण में कहा है, वाल्मीकि ऋषि ने भी कहा है, आचार्य बृहस्पति ने कहा है, शुक्राचार्य ने कहा है। Every scholar related with our polity and ethos And knowledge tradition, they all accepted these 4 pillars of the Indian knowledge tradition. कहीं कहीं अलग अलग मत है. इसको कौटिल्य ने लिखा है. क्या लिखा है? मनु महाराज आन्वीक्षिकी और त्रयी को एक मानते हैं. Manu is telling that Anvishki and Trayi is one. Whatever you are getting darshan of Paramatma, it is depicted in Trayi. So both are one. So, other thing, Varta. Varta, what is the meaning of Varta? Discussion, dialogue, talking. Huh? No. Varta is also talking in Sanskrit terms. But Varta is pure business, commerce. इति वार्ता श्रूयन्ताम. वो न्यूज़ नहीं है, न्यूज़ भी है, पर बिजनेस रिलेटेड न्यूज़ है, कारोबार है, व्यापार है. यही वार्ता है. द रियल मीनिंग ऑफ वार्ता इज बिजनेस. सो इफ यू आर नॉट learning the etiquettes and ethics of business in your Gurukula, how will you survive in this whole संसारिक world? कैसे जियोगे? हैं? ब्रह्मा जी का नाम जप करके जियोगे? भोजन चाहिए ना. भोजन कहाँ से आएगा? कौटिल्य उसको भी पढ़ा रहे हैं. क्या कह रहे हैं? वार्ता एंड दंड नीति. व्हाट इज दंड नीति? It is not like punishment. दंड नीति is not punishment. दंड, दंडुम मरहति, तुमको दंड देंगे, इसको दंड दो. तो what is the meaning of here दंड? दंड is knowledge of good governance. दंड नीति. नीति, नीति कोई मारने पीटने की भी नीति होती है क्या? मारो पीटो चाहे जैसे करो. All barbaric peoples are coming since from the ages in India. They are following any policy? They are making policy after the occupied India. इसलिए दंड नीति नहीं है. The policy तो सो आचार्य चाणक्य according to the scriptural tradition, he is coordinating with all previous scholars related on polity. मैं आगे बढ़ता हूं क्योंकि समय बहुत कम है. अब इस आन्वीक्षिकी को कौटिल्य अर्थशास्त्र में विजय शंकर जी, कौटिल्य इज डिस्क्रिप्टिंग अबाउट द एजुकेशन सिस्टम ऑफ तक्षशिला यूनिवर्सिटी. कौटिल्य हैज नॉट एस्टैब्लिश्ड तक्षशिला. तक्षशिला वाज द प्री हिस्ट्री ऑफ कौटिल्य. कौटिल्य के बहुत पहले से है. कौटिल्य तो 3rd सेंचुरी BC है. और तक्षशिला कब से है? भगवान बुद्ध का समय 6th सेंचुरी BC का है. द टाइम ऑफ लॉर्ड बुद्धा, 6th सेंचुरी BC. बिफोर क्राइस्ट 600 years एगो बुद्धा वाज इन दिस होली लैंड. एंड बुद्धा के शिष्य जो है तक्षशिला में पढ़ रहे थे. इट वॉज वेरी नियर टू रशियन बॉर्डर, अफगान बॉर्डर, outskirts of Islamabad. Today is Islamabad, outskirts, near Rawalpindi. The Takshila University was there. आन्वीक्षिकी के लिए कौटिल्य कहते हैं प्रदीपः सर्व विद्यानाम उपायः सर्व कर्मणाम आश्रयः सर्व धर्माणाम शाश्वत आन्वीक्षिकी मता. सब विद्याओं का बेस है, फाउंडेशन है. द फाउंडेशन ऑफ एवरी core of the every knowledge system of India is Anuvishki. It is not philosophy, like philosophy, but basically its basic aim is to get the darshan of that Paramatma. और गुरु के बिना दर्शन होता नहीं. मैं आगे बताता हूँ. तो he has given highest place to do to Anuvishki, and also he is discussing about Sankhya Lokayat. वो जो नास्तिक दर्शन है, हमारा जो नास्तिक दर्शन है, एथेइस्ट है, इट इज नॉट लाइक द एथेइस्ट ऑफ वेस्टर्न्स. वो भी इन ए सर्टेन वे ही इज बिलीविंग, नॉट बिलीविंग सर, बिलीविंग. इसलिए बौद्धों में कई मत आ गए. हमारा जो चारवाक है वो नहीं मानता है. लेकिन लोकायत में और बुद्ध और जैन में बिलीविंग की एग्जिस्ट करता है। इसीलिए वेद के निंदक होने के बाद भी वो वेद से ही सारी ज्ञान परंपरा को लेते हैं। तो यह जो त्रयी है, वार्ता है, दंड नीति है। अब यहां बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज है, मैं आपको बता दूं। वेद तो 4 ही बताए गए हैं, लेकिन व्हाट इज द अप्लाइड वेदा? Ved was protected by Brahmins, no doubt. But what about the practical training of Veda? So 4 Upaveda is there. You know the 4 Upaveda? पढ़ाया गया होगा, क्लास में पढ़ाया गया है ना, about the Upaveda. Ayurveda. Yesterday we heard a lot about the Ayurveda from our scholars. Ayurveda is also Veda. Second Veda is Dhanurveda, the knowledge of weapons, knowledge of protection, knowledge of war. आज जैसा वार हो रहा है यूक्रेन और रशिया के बीच में, वैसा वार भारत नहीं कर सकता था। आप युद्ध में किसान को नहीं छुएंगे, बच्चों को नहीं छुएंगे, महिलाओं को नहीं टच करेंगे, आप खेती को नष्ट नहीं करेंगे, रेजिडेंशियल इलाके पर बम्बार्डिंग, यू कांट डू दिस। दिस वॉज द लॉ ऑफ वॉर, दिस वॉज द नॉलेज ऑफ वॉर। युद्ध तो धनुर्वेद था, यह भी वेद है। और तीसरा गंधर्व वेद है, ओरिजिनेट्स फ्रॉम सामवेद। कैसा शाम को सुंदर जो है उन्नी कृष्णन जी का म्यूजिक सुन करके आनंद आ गया है, भोजन कर लिया, भाषण सुन लिया, अरे उसके बाद मन को भी तो कुछ चाहिए, तो सामवेद है, आइए गीत नृत्य कीर्तन किया जाए, भजन किया जाए। इफ यू हैव द डिजायर फॉर दैट सोल ब्रह्मा, इट कम्स टुवर्ड्स द ऑल सिस्टम्स ऑफ नॉलेज। गीत संगीत से भी आता है, क्योंकि वो नाद रूप है। नाद रूप कैसे है? मैं थोड़ा हिंदी में ज़्यादा अच्छा समझाता हूँ, पर हिंदी आप सब समझ नहीं सकते, इसलिए मैं प्रयास करता हूँ कि आई विल टेल यू, डिस्क्राइब यू द थिंग्स इन इंग्लिश। व्हाट हैपन टू द होल यूनिवर्स व्हेन द कॉन्शसनेस गोज इनटू डीप मेडिटेशन? जो चेतना है हमारे आप के भीतर है, जब ये गहन ध्यान की अवस्था में चली जाती है तो क्या हो जाता है शरीर के साथ? दिस बॉडी बिकम्स जीरो। दैट इज द सेम विद द होली यूनिवर्स। व्हेन द कॉन्शियसनेस गोज इनटू डीप मेडिटेशन, दिस होल यूनिवर्स मर्ज्ड इनटू दैट कॉन्शियसनेस। द होल यूनिवर्स इज द मैनिफेस्टेशन ऑफ मैटर, सुप्रीम मैटर, मातर परा। देवी प्रपन्नार्ति हरे प्रसीद प्रसीद मातर जगतो अखिलस्य। हे मां, अखिल ब्रह्मांड की तुम माता हो, यू आर द मदर ऑफ होल यूनिवर्स। कोई हिंदू मुस्लिम सिख ईसाई की माता नहीं हो, किसी इंडिया अमेरिका अरब देश की माता नहीं हो, यू आर द मदर ऑफ ऑल यूनिवर्स। व्हाट इज दैट मदर? ऑक्सफोर्ड एटिमोलॉजिकल डिक्शनरी डिस्क्राइब्स इट अबाउट that this matter word is coming, originates from the word mother, and this mother word is coming through the Sanskrit tradition matri. Matri is mother, pitri is father, daughter is duitar, duitar in Sanskrit, and shambho, sham sanishcharai namah, sham is sun. All is going to whole world. स्वम चरित्रम शिक्षेरन पृथिव्याम सर्वमानवा। सारे पृथ्वी के मनुष्यों के लिए भारत है। भारत किसी सेक्टेरियन नॉलेज के लिए नहीं है। इट इज नॉट फॉर ए पर्पस टू डिवाइड द ह्यूमैनिटी, इट इज टू यूनाइट द ह्यूमैनिटी। सो अब ये कहते हैं कि आपने तो खुद ही नैरेटिव है। कल एक बिटिया प्रश्न पूछ रही थी, व्हाट अबाउट दलित्स, व्हाट अबाउट शूद्रास? You had not given the right even for their education, better education in the ancient India. Is it true? It is not true. Why? ये जो 4 वेद हैं और 4 उपवेद हैं। उपवेद इज फॉर द शूद्र, Upaved is for every person. Upaved is the applied science of Veda. So, Kautilya is saying, क्या कह रहे हैं? चारों वर्णों का अधिकार कौटिल्य दे रहे हैं. Kautilya is providing without any discrimination every right to everyone. क्या है ये? हाँ, ब्राह्मणस्याध्ययन अध्यापनम यजनम दानम प्रतिग्रहश्चेति, क्षत्रियस्याध्ययनम यजनम दानम शस्त्राजीवो भूतरक्षणम च, वैश्यासध्ययनम यजनम दानम कृषि पशुपाल्य वाणिज्या च, शूद्रैः द्विजातिषु शुश्रूषा वार्ताकार कुशीलौ कर्म च, सर्वेषाम् अहिंसा सत्यम शौचम अनुसूया क्षमा च. हमारे श्रीधर जी अभी जो सर कह रहे थे इसके पहले, जिनका हम वीडियो, वी वर हियरिंग द वीडियो ऑफ द प्रीवियस स्कॉलर, ही वॉज सेइंग दिस थिंग. सामान्य धर्म विशेष धर्म, कौटिल्य इज टेलिंग अबाउट दिस. वो कह रहे हैं सबका अधिकार है, सबको शिक्षा का अधिकार है. एवरीवन हैज द राइट टू एजुकेट, टू बी एजुकेटेड. हियर द मीनिंग ऑफ शुश्रूषा इज इंपॉर्टेंट. Kautilya is raising a new word, शुश्रूषा. शुश्रूषा इज नॉट द सर्विस. क्षमा करिएगा सर, सब किताबों में शुश्रूषा को सेवा लिख दिया है. शूद्र का क्या काम है? ब्राह्मण क्षत्रिय वैश्य की सेवा करो. टू सर्व ओनली द ब्राह्मण क्षत्रिय शूद्र वैश्य. इट इज द जॉब ऑफ द शूद्र. नो, इट इज नॉट द रियल मीनिंग ऑफ द शुश्रूषा. श्रू जहां आ गया, इट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ हियरिंग. Talking means all jobs related with the three varnas. Shudras are entitled to be taken the charges of Brahman's job, Kshatriya job, Vaishya job under their direction. They were entitled. This is depicted in Kautilya Arthashastra. Shudras with Brahmins, Shudras with Kshatriyas, Shudra with Vaishyas. Apart from this, the knowledge tradition which is prevalent, which was prevalent in Vedic India, associated with the arts of Varta, means business, and craft, etc., includes the Shudra Varna completely in its teaching, training, and other social and celebrative activities of the society, everywhere. But question arises here about the Manusmriti. So, you see the Kautilya also quotes Manu. Kautilya ने बहुत सारे स्थानों पर मनु को कोट किया है. But Kautilya is not quoting that verse of the Manu that is disputed. Why Kautilya is not quoting? Now, if Manu has said something about keeping Shudras separate from the rest of the society, then the question is why Kautilya does not mentioning that? है ना, सवाल है ना. अगर मनु कुछ बात कह रहे, मनु इज सेइंग समथिंग, व्हाई कौटिल्य इज नॉट कोटिंग देम? सो रिमेंबर दैट कौटिल्या's book अर्थशास्त्र has been considered as the constitution of India during the period of Chandragupta Maurya. Manu Maharaj's book Manusmriti has once been prevalent as the constitution of India. No such mentioning in anywhere. It is not acceptable to historian. Why not acceptable to historians? Because they considered Manu as a mythological character. On the one side, you are considering Manu as a mythological. On the other side, you are बिल्कुल आंख बंद करके, closely eyes, you are quoting the Manu here and there. Why you are quoting Manu? Some conspiracy is there. First time Manusmriti was published by the Asiatic Royal Society of India, established by the Warren Hastings in 1774. Sir, am I right? हाँ, पब्लिशिंग वहीं से है, मैं जानता हूँ, पढ़ा है. लेकिन कौटिल्य अर्थशास्त्र was not published by Britishers. विलियम जोन्स ने मनुस्मृति को पब्लिश किया. कौटिल्य अर्थशास्त्र को अंग्रेज खोज रहे थे. They were trying to discover where is the कौटिल्य अर्थशास्त्र. But कौटिल्य अर्थशास्त्र कहाँ से मिला? Where from they get? Even they doesn't get. It was published by the Mysuru's librarian, Mysore Maharaj Granthapal was गणपत शास्त्री, श्याम शास्त्री. उन दोनों ने इसको पब्लिश किया. इसलिए उनके हाथ में आया नहीं और वो कुछ इसमें लिख सके नहीं. They were unable to write down any their heinous thought in that book. That's why कौटिल्य अर्थशास्त्री, उसका एक कॉपी बाद में इंडोनेशिया से मिली, इसलिए कौटिल्य नेपाल से मिली, इसलिए कौटिल्य अर्थशास्त्र वही है जो मैसूर से मिला. 1905 में मिला फर्स्ट टाइम और पब्लिश हो गया. चूँकि मेरे पास नोटिस आ गई है इसलिए मैं सब बंद करता हूँ. लेकिन आगे क्या है? What कौटिल्य इज सेइंग, आन्वीश की त्रयी वार्ता नाम योग क्षेम साधनो दंड और तस्य नीतिर दंड नीति ही. मैं विस्तार में न जाकर के केवल 2 बिंदुओं पर आपका ध्यान आकृष्ट करूंगा. कौटिल्य ने सारी दिनचर्या बताई है, स्कूल की भी बताई है और विद्यार्थी की बताई है. Kautilya says that different disciplines should be learned only by staying with his masters. Acharya should tell his learning to his students in a systematic and step-by-step manner. The student should always obey the orders of his teacher. Or first thing, it is appropriate to first perform the chaul karma sanskar, uska bal mundan sanskar of a child and give him the primary knowledge of akshar and gadana, writing and. अब ये जो हमसे आपसे डिस्कशन हो रहा था, राइटिंग है कि नहीं है, हम तो कह रहे हैं क्योंकि कौटिल्य लिख रहे हैं कि उसको अक्षर ज्ञान बताइए और कैलकुलेशन बताइए. हाँ, पर फिर प्रश्न आ जाता है महाभारत में कैसे लिख रहे हैं, ना मूलम लिख्यते किंचित. ऐसा कुछ भी मत लिखिए जिसका फाउंडेशन न हो, बेस न हो, सोर्स न हो. महाभारतकार कह रहे हैं तो लिखने की परंपरा कहाँ से शुरू हुई? आई विल डिस्कस फर्दर. तो students should remain in this brahmacharya for a minimum of 16 years. After this, after completing the समावर्तन and केशांत संस्कार, one should enter the householder's ashram, गृहस्थ आश्रम में उसको प्रवेश करना चाहिए. और Kautilya writes about the students' routine which was prevalent in Taxila University at that time. In morning, Sandhya Vandan, Snan Dhyan, Path Abhyas, and first part of the day, as per the tradition of Arthashastra, Kautilya is saying that practice of elephant riding, horse riding, chariots, and how to deal with weapons, it should be, the training should be given to students in the first part of the day. और फिर कहते हैं in the middle part, listening and contemplating the historical text, Purans, etc., knowledge of old things and fictions, accounts, theology, economics should be acquired in the middle part of the day. After the evening, the new topics should be repeated before going to sleep. उसको दोबारा याद करिए रात में सोने से पहले. ये it was the instruction of Kautilya to their students. और अंत में कहते हैं इस प्रकार जो नॉलेज आप प्राप्त करते हैं इससे जो राज्य आगे बढ़ता है, विद्या विनीतो राजा ही प्रजानाम विनयरतः अनन्या पृथ्वी भुंक्ते सर्वभूत हिते रतः. One word is very important in English. What is the meaning of Prithvi in English? You know, have you heard about the Earth Summit? Earth means, in English, Earth means Prithvi. And Kautilya is telling about Arthashastra. Some scholars say this earth is different from this earth. No, this is the same. First time Kautilya is telling to the world about the meaning of earth. Clearly mentioned in Kautilya Arthashastra. Manushyanam vrittir arthah, manushvati bhumirityarthah. Kautilya is saying, what is the meaning of earth? The land on which people are living. This is earth. The land containing human beings is also called earth. This type of attitude and the science of acquiring land, earth, and following it for their good governance, the knowledge tradition is related with Arthashastra. और यहाँ फिर वो कहते हैं सुखस्य मूलम धर्म, सुख चाहिए, you want to peace, you want to happiness. So it should be based on dharma. Dharmasya moolam artha. You want to live a peaceful life, a dharmic life. So earth is needed. Earth means state is needed, money is needed. And arthasya moolam rajyam. So for the rajya moolam indriya jaya. The origin of sukh is dharma, the origin of dharma is artha, the basis of the attainment of earth is the state. The state remains stable only by conquering the senses. Jitendratma, jitendriya. Control on our own senses is the basic foundation of our state, our earth, as per sayings of the Kautilya. Now I am going to talk on the one other word, vritti. Let us talk about vritti. Vritti means instinct. Vritti means tendencies. Maharshi Patanjali has given a sutra in their Yoga Shastra. Yoga chitta vritti nirodha. The ultimate goal of yoga is to stop the vritti, our tendencies arising from our own soul, जिसको चिति कहा है, and concentrate the mental power and become one with the one and only Supreme God. Yoga thus transforms man internally. This is how man comes to know his self. The knowledge which yoga, knowing from the inner journey, masters the inquisitive mind in Paravidya. The Indian Vedic education by external means and means by purging the vritti, controlling it, recognizing its originality and the itself in the work of life and business. It makes it useful. By taking the instincts, manah vritti of the mind to its ultimate destination, it is the goal of Indian education, Vedic education, to make man aware of himself through the path of karma yoga, to identify your vritti. We can say that yoga chitta vritti nirodha, bharatiya shiksha chitta vritti prayoga. The experiment with the vritti is the foundation of Indian Vedic education. The movements of the chitta vritti are the fundamental music of man's consciousness, his original call. It's a real dance, but as long as these instincts are scattered here and there randomly, its music does not hear itself. Therefore, there is a need for its teaching, training of vritti. The Indian education tradition cultivates the mind and makes it the purpose of performing worldly tasks in the journey of the world. Thus, the purpose of yoga and education appears to be the same. The concept of the sages behind both is to realize that knowledge or knowledge which makes us aware of ourselves and makes the way for our own liberation. It becomes the reason for our welfare in this world as well as in the beyond world. Yato abhyuday nishreyas siddhi atmano mokshartham jagat hitaya cha sa vidyaya vimuktai. मैं इसको लेकिन एक one last point remaining. Very useful. One word is in English is writing. You all write it. Write anything, something. Writing is important. But you know the genesis of writing? Why W is silent in write? क्यों चुप है, क्यों खामोश है W? WRITE, RIGHT, in that right, and in this right, what is the difference? WRITE. Pronunciate W with W the right. Then you will pronunciate it vritti. WRVT. vritte. वृत्ते हो जाएगा ना, W बोलते ही वृत्त आ जाएगा. It means something connecting between right and वृत्ति. वृत्त जो है, यही this is the method of ancient India to tell the वृत्तांत, वृत्तपत्र, वृत्तिका, वृत्ति, वार्तिक, all are the writing form of the ancient India. This is the vritti. Writing in English tradition originates from vritti. I was reading the word willpower. Where it will come from? ये will कहाँ से आता है? ये will विलीन से आता है. It originates from विलीन. What is the meaning of विलीन? विलीन, the इच्छा शक्ति, willpower of the supreme consciousness is vileen. That will is in you. That's why every teacher say, rise your willpower, use your willpower. You will do everything. That is my message also. I am completing it. Namaskar.
Thank you, Rakesh ji. Our final speaker for the day is Professor Hriday Ranjan Sharma ji. President awardee, Professor Sharma is a distinguished professor of Veda at the Department of Veda, Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi. He completed his PhD in 1974 from Department of Sanskrit and continued his academic activities there. He has more than 34 years of teaching experience, and his field of specialization is Vedic etymology, spiritual aspects of the Vedic texts, and Vedic architecture. He will be addressing us on the topic, the ultimate teaching of the Vedas, realizing one's true potential. Professor Sharma ji.
Hari Om Vidyancha Vidyancha Yastadvedo Bhayansaha Avidyaya Mrityum Tirtva Vidyaya Mritamashnute. Manyamanya Asya महद्रूपस्य स्थानस्य संरक्षकाः आदरणीयाः मधुसूदन साईवर्याः ते सर्वत्र विराजन्ते. अत्र मंचे ते न दृश्यन्ते परन्तु सर्वत्र तेषां स्थितिर्विद्यते इति कृत्वा संबोधयामि. पुनश्च आचार्यवर्याः मूर्तिमहाशयाः आचार्याः राकेश उपाध्याय महोदयाः गोष्ठ्यां विराजमाना विद्वांसः विदिष्यः छात्रगणाश्च. छात्रगणाश्चेति यदा उच्यते तत्र छात्रापि आगच्छन्ति छात्रापि सर्वेपि छात्राः सर्वापि छात्राः संबोध्यन्ते. अतः सर्वेषां कृते छात्रगणाश्चेति संबोधनं विद्यते. अन्ये भक्तजनाः. समयस्य सीमा विद्यते, अतः अत्यन्तमेव संक्षेपेण यत् वक्तव्यं विद्यते तत् वदामि. Friends, the topic of the subject is the ultimate teaching of Vedas, realizing one's own potential. Our other scholars well spoke about what is Ved and what is the scope of Vedas. But the ultimate teaching of the Vedas, what is that? Simply, I would like to ask you, what is our object, the ultimate object, which is desired by all the human beings and other beings, without any controversy? What is that ultimate object? That is one object which is desired by all, and that is we should be happy. Happiness should come to us. It is without any controversies the ultimate object. And Vedas teach that what is true happiness you should know. Happiness is good, but when we just take sweet meats, happiness comes to us. But Vedas say you should find out, you should know what is your true happiness. Happiness in eternal form, which remains always. So, this time I recited the mantra Vidyancha Vidyancha. It says we should come to know what is the means, what are the means of knowing what is this creation and what is the true happiness. So Vedas reveal that this creation has three aspects: physical, divine and spiritual. And with that, happiness also relates to physical, divine and spiritual aspect. Our existence relates to all these three aspects. So we should find out what is physical aspect of happiness and what is divine aspect of happiness and what is spiritual aspect. Time is very short, so I am just counting points. And our life is also has these three aspects. Mortality is not our own original existence. We are immortal. Vedas say that we are immortal. All the human beings are immortal. They are the fragment of that Supreme One. So they are immortal. They should try, they should strive to find out the means how immortality can be gained, attained. So this is the ultimate teaching of Vedas and the potentiality to know what is our personality, physical personality, divine personality and spiritual personality. There is a difference between divine and spiritual personality. I am just talking about very short. The divine personality, foreigners, when they come to study Vedas, they just ask, what is the difference between divine existence and spiritual existence? So the very, difference is, when we say divine existence, it means the pure consciousness which is just pervaded all in the universe. It is in divided aspect. So divided aspect, in every person there is consciousness. So the divided aspect of the consciousness is named as divine existence of the all person beings, where they are, sentient or insentient. Divided aspect, consciousness remains in them. And when Vedas say that divided aspect of consciousness relates to one, so when one just strives to know how one can become a part of that Supreme One, it is spiritual consciousness, spiritual existence. So it can be just explained very clearly, but time is not here. So I am just pointed some things about this topic. So our ultimate, aim is to follow. The very simple, means is meditation, studying Vedas and other things. And there are so many religions who follow those religions, no matter. One thing, if one just performs, he is just striving to attain perfection. And that is to to follow dutiful act. Dutiful act, everyone should follow his or her dutiful act. And if he follows very sincerely according to the constitutions, he is following the real path of being perfection. Just only in saying this, I just complete my thank you.
Thank you, Sharma ji. May we now request our Vice Chancellor, Dr. Shrikanta Murthy, to extend a token of our gratitude and appreciation. First to Professor Hriday Ranjan Sharma ji. To Professor Rakesh Upadhyay ji. We request the panelists for a group photograph, please. For a group photo. Thank you, delegates and panelists, for your participation. We will reconvene